If you know somebody that routinely makes decisions where they pick the wrong job, the wrong person, or even just routinely wreck their own peace in life, they may fit into one of these 4 categories. Stick around and I'll tell you what they are. Some people might call these behavioral habits or behavioral mindsets, but for this video, I'm going to call it a behavioral snare because it's going to be something that pulls you into a decision that you shouldn't have made. If you or if anyone you know fits into one of these 4 categories, put it in the comment section below. At the end, I'm going to tell you how to fix it, so watch to the end. Our brain always wants to take shortcuts. This is why when you go to the supermarket, you don't look down every single aisle for a box of cereal that you want. You go to the cereal section because it saves you time. It's a shortcut. Your brain drives you towards choosing things that are familiar because familiar to you means safe. And if something feels safe, it becomes desirable to you. And if it's desirable to you, you will repeat this behavior. The first snare I want to show you is called a behavioral reflector. This is where, whether it's a job or a relationship, you are drawn to things that you experienced when you were growing up. If your dad was a little bit mean or violent or unpredictable, you may seek out those kinds of people because you're recreating and you are reflecting what you grew up in because that's where your comfort is. If you grew up around people that are critical of you, you're going to seek out critical people. And if your mother or your father were really distant from you, you may be a person that seeks out relationships with people who are emotionally or even mentally unavailable. Because as a reflector, you are reflecting what you grew up in. Because remember, that's what feels familiar. Familiar means safe, safe means desirable, and desirable means you will repeat the pattern. Number 2, I want to call a behavioral switch. Because in this particular one, you're going to switch what happened in the past. In this type of a snare, what you're doing is you will seek out the opposite of what you had when you were growing up. And if you were weak or you were powerless, you will seek out relationships where you're the dominant one, where you're the one in charge and you're making the rules. If you grew up in a situation where you were ignored or felt invisible, you may be one of the people that just tries to take over every room that you are in with loud, obnoxious behaviors, or even just dressing in a way that brings a lot of attention to you because you hated being invisible. So now you're going to be completely visible. In your mind, you're going to feel as though this is healing a wound from when you were smaller, but it's not. It's really the placebo effect because you're not actually healing. You're just acting out in a way that is opposite of what made you feel invisible or in some way completely insignificant. The third one I'm going to call the finisher. This is where you want to finish something that you felt was undone when you were younger. It doesn't even have to be from a primary relationship like a mom or a dad or a brother or a sister, but this is where you run into people and you seek out people that resemble the ones that hurt you. The people that made you feel the worst, the people that brought you to a place where you felt completely and utterly broken. This particular snare is a type of behavior that will intentionally seek that out, even though it's primarily subconscious. Why would anyone do this? Because this time you are finally going to get what you didn't get back then. Let me hit the pause button here. One of the problems with this type of a behavioral snare is that you can find yourself in a codependent relationship really quick because you'll find yourself unintentionally and subconsciously seeking out broken people that are just like the ones that hurt you, but you will make excuses. He's doing a lot better now. He's going to really work on that. Things are different than they were before. And you'll find yourself trying to fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed or even cannot be fixed. And the fourth one I'm going to call the repeater. This type of behavioral snare is a little bit tricky. This one can be dangerous because you can do it in a job, you can do it in a family, you can do it in a relationship. And what the repeater does is they recreate pain from an earlier time in their life. Pain where they felt like they were the victim. And the reason why they do this is because this time your brain is going to give you the placebo effect that you are in control. This is a person who recreates painful situations and stressful situations to give yourself the feeling that you are actually completely in control because you're the one who created it. This is the person that chooses drama. They choose relationships that give them way too much stress, and they choose jobs that may give them way too much work, and they become burned out. But they feel like they're actually in control of it because as a repeater, they're repeating what was out of control in their past. And now this time when they repeat it, they're the ones who did it on purpose, so they're the ones who are in control. So how do we fix these things? All four of them can be summed up by saying it like this. Just because something snares you, just because something sucks you in, does not mean that that situation is right for you. This is a mindset. This is something we need to get drilled into ourselves, or if it's a friend, this is something you really need to speak to your friend about. We will always choose things that feel familiar, even when they're not good for us. And we choose the familiar because it feels right to us. It feels like it pulls us in. It feels like it snares us. And it doesn't mean that it's good for you. It doesn't mean that it's going to be healthy this time. It doesn't mean that you're going to feel better at the end of this job or the end of this relationship. It just means that you are subconsciously creating a situation that will match the old pain. So to break this, we have to, number one, spot where it is that we are continuing to get on this hamster wheel. If you're seeking out a job and you're like, yep, this is the one I'm going to take because it feels right, stop. Is this another hamster wheel that you're getting on to do the exact same thing again? Try to spot this. Now, this is going to sound weird, but the next part is to give it a name. Name that thing in your life. Give it an identity so that when you realize you're stepping back into this, you know what it's called. The next part will be to try to remember where the source of this problem came from. Is it something from when you were a kid? Is it something from a relationship that went sour? Is it something from a job that you lost that you wish you didn't lose? You have to try your best to figure out where it began and then make a decision that might be completely antithetical to what you think you need. Here's a real quick warning for you. When you start making healthy decisions and you start doing things that are actually good for you, it's going to feel wrong. Because you're used to doing things that are not good for you. So things that are actually under control in your life might feel boring. Things that are actually going well might seem stressful to you because you're missing out on the arguments and you're missing out on the stress and you're missing out on the burnout. But guess what? That means you're likely on the right path. So don't be afraid to make a change that will actually change your life. You can break this cycle.